Data centers require extra care and attention to keep the facility free from power surges and fast-moving electrical transients. These facilities usually need to be up and running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The damage done by electrical transients can cost millions of dollars. Did you know that if you're using typical specifications on surge protection for data centers, you run a much greater risk of downtime? That's why today on the Power Grid, we're going to discuss unique surge protection features and specifications for data center optimization. Hello and welcome back to the Power Grid, a podcast to help you build reliability in your electrical system and give you confidence in your power. I'm Brian Brannigan with Power Protection Products. We have been solving power quality problems for almost 30 years. We are your trusted advisor for critical power, cooling, and energy solutions. Point 1. Even the best surge protector doesn't last forever. Data center surge protection on the electrical service entrance needs to be a side-mounted surge protector for easy change-out or module replacement of the components. Point 2. In data centers, surge protection at the motor control center, power distribution unit level, and even the data rack level is one way for providing a system shield against power surges in the facility. Imagine that there was a large data center, some of the largest data centers in the world, and it had 4 service entrances for the electrical system. Things were running just fine for years. It's fully automated with access controls, security, redundancy, but a large power surge comes in on one of the service entrances. In this particular story, the data center had an integrated surge protector on one of the main service entrances. It put these people in a very unfamiliar situation. One of the surge protection devices failed. They had to call the contractor, they had to get the serial number, they had to take pictures, and order a new unit. This would require downtime to change out the surge suppressor. They had to wait for a new unit to show up, all while operating the data center without a main service entrance surge protector. It took 1 to 2 months to get the part to come in, and then it takes an unscheduled outage to replace the integral or integrated surge protection device because this had to be hooked into the main bus bars of the system. All of this could have been avoided. The moral of the story is to use side mount surge suppressors for the service entrances of data centers. Integrated or internally mounted surge protection on data center service entrance equipment can be a ticking time bomb for downtime, replacement, and repair. For data centers, surge protection should be mounted on the side of the electrical equipment. You will sacrifice a little bit of performance over the flexibility, but this flexibility will save you in downtime later on. We're going to start with the service entrance. The IEEE has a guide for surge suppression called Catalog C62, specifically C62.72. And in that guide, it says that when MOVs, or metal oxide varistors, reach end of life, they lose their ability to block normal system voltage, and they begin to conduct current continuously. This is called thermal runaway, and it results in the destruction of the MOV. This destruction can be catastrophic, and it needs to be either contained or prevented. In the ANSI IEEE guide for surge suppression, they talk about the containment methods that they use, like a suitable enclosure or sealing or potting compound, overcurrent protection on the device, avoiding flammable material in the enclosure. They go on and on about the problems with failure on surge suppressors. There's also prevention methods mentioned in Catalog C62, like thermal protection or thermally protected MOVs or fusing. In either case, you're going to be looking at a failed surge suppression device that needs to be repaired, replaced, or changed out. These devices can have long lead times. In a data center environment, particularly on the service entrance, it's a good idea to have your surge protection device mounted on the outside of the electrical service entrance equipment. It's also a good idea to use replaceable modules in that particular surge suppressor. For surge protection on the service entrance of a data center, I would recommend something in the range of 400 to 600,000 amp rating for peak surge capacity, a side mount surge suppressor with possibly replaceable modules for easy maintenance, and a full alarm feature package. Now, farther downstream for power distribution, it's common to have multiple power distribution units or PDUs located throughout the data center, usually by the data racks or servers. I would again recommend a side mount surge protector on the power distribution units with a peak surge capacity of 200 to 300,000 amps of peak surge, with basic feature packages and no audioable alarm, but utilize the dry relay contacts in the surge suppressor for monitoring. Another area of concern in data centers could be the motor control centers. Data centers typically have motor control centers that feed some of the lighting loads and chiller loads. Since these are usually redundant systems, I would recommend internally mounted or externally mounted surge protection devices sized between 200 and 300,000 amps of peak surge capacity. Other considerations for surge protection in data centers include specialized equipment with high risk exposure, such as chillers and automatic transfer switches. Chillers or other types of cooling equipment need protection on the primary 480 volt side as well as the low voltage control power. It's not uncommon to place a 480 volt surge protection device on the chiller itself and also protect the step-down control power system within the chiller. For chillers or other types of cooling equipment, I would recommend 160 to 250,000 amp rating on the 480 volt power. But for the control power protection, I would recommend the appropriate voltage of 120 volts AC or 24 volt DC with sine wave tracking for the sensitive equipment. We want to protect the circuit boards that are controlling the chiller operation. Another piece of equipment that's critical for data centers is the automatic transfer switch. The automatic transfer switch will require a variety of surge suppressors for a variety of reasons. We'll start with the utility feed into the automatic transfer switch. That should have a surge protector on it. And then the generator input into the automatic transfer switch should have its own surge suppressor. And then the automatic transfer switch output should have a surge protector as well. And the low voltage generator control circuit should have a smaller control power surge protector on it. For even more layers of protection, you could put a surge protection device on the utility feed disconnect so that you have some form of upstream protection on the entire system. There are a lot of other types of electrical equipment in a data center. And one approach to surge protection for the other equipment would be to think about the failure damage to determine to mount the device inside or outside the panel or the equipment and protect the primary power and the control power of that equipment. I would look at using surge protectors in the 50 to 100,000 amp peak surge capacity for most of this other equipment. Thank you for joining us today on the Power Grid. Data centers are unique facilities and require extra care and attention when specifying surge protection. Typically, a common facility surge protection specification won't fit the needs of this type of facility. P3 is here to help you select the correct surge protection for the data center. Learn more by checking out the podcast notes or go to p3-inc.com.